it's such a huge wick. It's like a blow off top, and then it retested it, and then it had a bear market, and now it's like in its own bull market again.
GM friends, and thanks for tuning in to DeFi-Logic's TA Tuesday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time every week. If you're a server member, you get to enjoy weekly community calls, request chart reviews, and join in live discussions. Server link is in the video description below. In today's community call, we will review charts for Aimbot, Cortex, Ethereum Proof of Work, Blur, ETH, Bitcoin, ETH to Bitcoin, and for legacy markets, S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial, NASDAQ, Volatility Index, US 10-year bonds. And with that, Eddie will take it away.
What's up, everyone? Let's get this going. Volatility's still here, so we're still happy, right? But I do want to just quickly say, do you think that it may be ending for the year soon? So just keep that in mind. We'll probably get some pretty choppy action leading up to this. So let's just start with Bitcoin, like usual. So I still never got my sweep that I've been waiting for, and I'm starting to think that this is like a level that maybe won't get tapped until, I don't know, maybe after Christmas or something, but still a possibility of that going on. So as far as more actionable stuff for now, there is a pretty good long opportunity on Bitcoin. Where are we at? Hold on, let me just erase all this stuff. And we need to look at it on the daily because we're getting into a zone that I think will potentially end this rally. So we have these like equal highs here, and you need to, I'm being aware of these getting ran and then us trading back below it. There's a possibility where that happens, where something like this, and then maybe we finally get some of these people who've been writing for free and stop them out. And I would love to see some of this stuff filled in. So just be aware of this, these equal highs getting taken out and then us getting back below it for something like intraday. But if we can stay going above those levels, I think that this is pretty heavy resistance and it needs to be treated as such until it's flipped. So I wouldn't be opening any fresh positions really into Bitcoin unless you get a pretty solid dip. Like the one from yesterday was pretty decent. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm thinking that this is going to end soon and we're just going to have choppy price action. If there's a world where it starts flipping this 41.6 level, or even right here, if it starts putting bullish price action above these highs, then I don't know if I would position into it anyway, because it's just a huge resistance zone and it's not really for buying up here in my opinion. If you can get some pretty good flushes, then of course that's good, but I'm thinking that pretty soon we need to start aiming down on Bitcoin again, and I still really want to see some of these people, some of these levels need to get ran for it to be healthy. I wouldn't even mind December, January, some pullback that fills up this zone like I was talking about. Something down to here would be not much to look at there. It's just grinding. Ethereum, same kind of thing. It's performing a little bit weaker, but you still got the same structure, but it's just in heavier resistance. This hasn't even gotten above this like little range high, which Bitcoin's already done. I mean, it clearly shows that Bitcoin is just stronger still with the whole ETF narrative that it has. On the low time frame, I'm currently in a Ethereum long, and I'm really just looking for the same idea where I just want the local highs to get ran. I think that's all you can look at for this stuff for now, just some real low time trades. So this is basically the same setup I'm in right now, which is a trade that I had already planned on stream, it looks like, for us. Basically just looking for these highs to get ran right here at 21.90, and then again right here at 21.25. I don't think that there's a possibility of this happening right now. It's just too weak of a coin for anything. But this is some pretty big resistance that we're going to be coming into it pretty soon as well. So you just need to be careful opening fresh positions into both of these. Hopefully this can go the rest of that data. Let me close down this browser. Hopefully that'll help. Let's just check that real quick, yeah? So we're coming into these highs now. We'll see how high it continues to go. Anyways, Ethereum. So I just want to plan dip buying for both of the majors right now. So I'll go over just some high time frame levels to look for over here. It's the same thing. It looks like literally identical. So eventually some of these lows are going to start to get ran. And I think if you can get all the way down here to like 1737, That's a pretty good level to just buy for long term if you want to have Ethereum long term. It looks pretty decent to me to a dip down that low. From current prices, that would be 15%. So that'd be pretty nice. I don't know if I would want to see it any lower. I guess there is like a high time frame range right here. It's like a really ugly one, but it is there. And then you have your mid range probably somewhere like around here ish, right? If we can get down to the discount of the range, then you just need to buy. That would look really nice if that happened, actually, if it can do one of these things. If anyone ever wants XO or S streams, this is like what they want to see, right? So yeah, some sort of deviation into the lower part of that range would be really bullish in my opinion. Oops. Especially if it's like in the OTE, which it would be. Anything down here, 14 to 1265, if you can get it, that's like when you load, you shouldn't be any more stable at this point if that were to happen, in my opinion. Okay, moving on. Just to look at Ethereum BTC, I mean, it's basically just going to echo what I'm already saying. Like, Ethereum is just very weak compared to Bitcoin. And that will probably continue until the ETF passes, and then maybe we'll finally see it switch over. But for now, it's just, I don't know. Vitalik needs to post some new pictures of his member or something to get this thing pumping, because there's just nothing happening here at all. It's not even fun to look at. I don't even want to look at that chart anymore. It's weak. Okay. So we looked at Aimbot on stream, and it gave all the plans laid out perfectly. So we got our dips into the purple box, which ended up being like the Cryptix actually live called it the bottom in the DeFi-Logic server, which was cool. It also held this little blue line that I've been wanting to hold, and it gave like a three tap play on it. It's just a very ugly one, but it is probably on a higher time frame. It looks nicer. And I also mentioned that you want to buy this stuff, these coins, when the chart is smiling at you. And if you did, you're up a lot. You're already up 2x. And if you got the bottom, you're up even more. And then it also flipped the level that I needed it to flip, and it retested it very nicely, and it's going. So the only thing that this hasn't done is given us new highs, but I don't see any reason why it won't, especially because the team has been doing very well with it, and the chart is looking really good. So shout out to Cryptix for the live call, and then also the stream enjoyers who also are up big if they caught this. This is looking good. As far as like profit taking with it, if you're in, and I know a lot of people use like fibs for this kind of stuff. I've never personally looked into it, so I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do that, but I would just think of some targets. Like $20 is a pretty round number that has a lot of profit taking in the past. You probably want to de-risk some there, and then, I don't know, just figure out a way to scale out of the coin. Cortex. So it's an AI narrative coin with a terrible website, but it's pumped 130% in the past 7 days, and even more than that since, is that 7 days already? Yeah, geez. So what's going on with this thing? This chart is horrendous too, but it did that little wedge thing that if you're in the DeFi-Logic server, you always see Cryptix. Pay attention to these. That was real nice. This is like a to look at. I don't really even know what to think of it. I guess if you get dips down here, you can, but the thing is, I imagine that it'll dip lower. I don't know. This is weird. I don't have a very good gauge of it. This is just such an ugly chart. I'd be interested to find out why it's pumping, because if they did something fundamentally different, I would want to look at a lower time frame and just catch the momentum. Because other than that, I don't really know. These highs are from January. They're really not that relevant. Here we go. I would say here's your must flip level. This little zone right here. I think if it flips that, then I don't know, all-time highs. These are just, it's such a huge wick. It's like a blow off top, and then it retested it, and then it had a bear market, and now it's like in its own bull market again. So I'm gonna look at it low time frame really quickly. It broke market structure to the downside, which would imagine that any more tests into this level right here, 43 and above to these highs, would be probably shorted again. I would do it at least. That probably start scaling into shorts from here up to here, which would make your R a little bit better if your average entry can get up to like right here. That is just such a ugly chart. I really don't like this chart at all. I think it's a pretty wide zone, but if it can come back down to here, I would just look for some bullish price action to happen. This should be your versus your 23 cents and above this 53, 54 cents. Other than that, I wouldn't even touch this thing. It's just a very strange looking chart. Okay, moving on to Ethereum Proof of Work. Completely forgot about this bad boy. This is a free airdrop for everybody. Any more data anywhere? May. Is that when it happened, May 23? I don't remember. Let me just...
Nah, there should be more data. It was a merge.
This starts September 22?
Yeah, it should be right, yep.
So, this actually would look really good if it can flip this. Might be a proof of work trader if that happens, right? Because now you're looking at a yearly long deviation. If it can flip this level, this is pretty good. Excuse me. Something like that would look really nice. And then as far as dips go, because this most likely won't break out the first try. Same thing. It's like, why is this pumping randomly? That makes me bearish on the market actually too, which lines up with what I was saying, that I think that we're due for a pullback. And I think the volatility is going to dry out come December because you have random shitcoins just pumping for no reason, which is always a bearish sign. Yeah, people are just buying this up massively. That's insane. 2 days straight of just nothing but buys. And now it looks like it is in a sell-off. Let me look at 4 hour. I think here's your level to look for. Maybe if it sweeps this low and reclaims it, you can get back in. You can get in the whole thing or similar action. I think those are our main levels to look at though with Ethereum Proof of Work. Let's move on to Blur. Blur, from what I can tell, is benefiting from Blast, which is a new L2. That seems pretty scammy, but they'll probably get pumped anyway. And Blur is really enjoying that announcement. I believe there's supposed to be something with staking involved. I had some limits from here and I got front run by, I think I had my first one right here. I got front run by 0.009 today. So on a 13% move, it was really nice to wake up to that. But here's my plan still is I want to see a dip into here. I have limits throughout this entire zone and I would close manually if it starts to close below this box right here. Alternatively, which is probably what I'm going to have to do, it looks, is buy higher. I don't know, this might come back down. We'll see. If not, buy something if it can flip this level. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. It's something to be watching for sure. It'd probably be better, more safer to wait for a higher time frame reclaim. I don't know. I need to see how this daily candle closes. If it can close above there, I'll probably look to get into a shallower pullback. But for now, I want to see it come down into here one more time. That may have been it already this day though here. So we'll see. But I think that this can perform really well because of the whole Blur thing. I mean, the whole Blast thing. It's pretty significant weekly resistance right ahead. So I should get filled here because of that. That's the plan. Buying into this, what it is, it's a daily breaker, and it also has what I use as a daily trend, which is May 13, 25, and 30 in it as well. And you can see it blasted off from daily EMA 13. But anyways, I feel like I'm just rambling about this. Want to see dips into it or some bullish PA up higher, but I feel like this is pretty significant resistance, this whole zone. Maybe a daily close above right here, and I'll look to get in. That'll be my alternative plan. Daily closes above 59. That's pretty decent. And then looks. I think that's the last one. So I wanted to look at looks too because it's also been pretty bullish. They had some like new catalysts for it. Some like game that they're playing. I don't know. I don't really pay that much attention to exactly what's going on. I just know that there's some game happening with looks and the people are buying looks because of it. But same thing with Blur. It's into this pretty big resistance zone currently. So if I can start closing above this level, I think I would look to get in, which may happen today. So if I can close above it and then retest it, I'll probably buy. Or if I can start sweeping some of these lows and reclaim it, I'll look to get in as well. But it seems like it's a pretty good narrative for the token, so I'm gonna try to ride that out and just aim for your highs up here. But that's it for now. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man. All right, now we got John. He's going to go over the legacy markets. Come on up here, G-Force.
I'm here. I'll show my screen and we'll talk about the legacy markets. We're going to start off with the S&P 500 like we always do. It is the daily chart. I always show the daily chart. And the daily chart is very interesting as far as not the action, but what's happened in the past. So we're having an interesting week right here where I'm going to show you this is what's going on this past week. Not much. You'll see in the S&P weekly options that I put in the daily dose that didn't even trade during the Thanksgiving week because things were just flat. I mean, it was just incredibly flat. What I want to show though is this run up. We've had a run up since the end of October. Just boom, several gaps up, huge amount of support to get back up to this 530 line. Now you look at that line, we had a high way back here on the first part of September 1st. So that's why that line is there at 4530. So we blew past the mental barrier of 4500 right here, and we've just gone up, and we flattened out during Thanksgiving week, which is expected. I mean, low volatility, everyone wants to enjoy the short trading week and enjoy the holiday. So what do we do from here? The high for this year is back here in July 27th, okay? And it's around the right here, was that point, it was almost at 4,600, just a tad under 4,600. I just put the mental barrier here of 4,600. So I feel this year that it is going to blow up past 4,600. I don't know exactly what the catalyst is going to be. The only real catalyst is that the brokerage firms, the major brokerage firms, had a bad year last year. S&P was down 20% last year. So this year they need to make some money. So I feel that they're just going to push it up so that they can make some money, which is actually a factor. So that's the S&P right now. We're just treading. It might get back down to the 4530 level here. I don't think it's going to get back down to 4,500. And then I think it's going to probably tag this and then move up 4,600, and we'll have a nice little Santa Claus rally. Moving on to NASDAQ. Again, this is a daily chart with NASDAQ. You're seeing the same thing right here. The high for the year back here in July was 15,888. So we've blown past that right before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving week has died, and we'll probably come back down to tag it, and then we'll accumulate and go back up. So right now you'll see though is that, again, October, horrible month, everything's blown past it. It blew past this midpoint right here, which was 15,264. It went above it back in November, first part of November, went below, and then boom. I mean, this is a huge gap. I mean, look at this open gap from here to here. And that was a whole AI chip thing with NVIDIA. So that their earnings on that. Moving on to Dow Jones. Similar thing. We're looking at, since it blew past this midpoint at 33,869, it's just gone up again back here. And in August, we have a high point for the year at 35,630, and I believe it's going to reach it. Again, the catalyst to reach it, I'm not too sure, but it's going to get reached. So I feel that is a good point. We'll go beyond that. Will Santa Claus bring more presents? That's a possibility, but we'll see. He's probably the only rich guy these days. Anyway, moving on to the VIX. Okay, the VIX is at an all-time low right here down at 1221. That's an all-time low. The VIX again is the fear index. So it basically gauges fear. So when it's at an all-time low, there is hardly any fear in the market. So the Hamas-Israel conflict doesn't matter. The Russian-Ukraine conflict doesn't matter. Everything's jolly and everything's good, according to investors. So this is down here. This is my ultimate low level, which was 13. And we tagged below that back in September. And things are just looking very comfortable. Everybody's complacent. So will that turn around? Maybe next year, but this end of this year, I don't think so at the moment. Moving on to gold. I did have a call on gold to get above 2,000 way back here in October, and it did. And I said, well, go past that. It did recently. It sure fell back. It fell back to the standard deviation line, which I thought it would, but it went even below that. But it tagged the lower 2x band here, and then it's just run up ever since. Even though the call is correct, it's right now it's trading at 2040, which is a big day today for gold. It just took a lot longer and more of a dip than I thought it would. So that's what markets do. They shake out people that, oh, it can't get any lower. Oh, it is going lower. Oh, it can't get any lower. Yeah, it is going lower. It gets shaken out. Those people get shaken out. And then it's just rallied up since. So even though the call was right, it's taken much more time and went lower than I thought it would. But gold is still doing what it should do. So you have gold up and you have markets up, which is pretty much very much of a contrarian situation. So we're going to see who wins. Somebody's going to win. Either the market's going to win or gold's going to win. Moving on now to the US 10-year yield. Okay. That is definitely an inverse correlation to the markets themselves. And you can see we're having a down day today. It was a down day yesterday, on Monday, a down day today, and it's hitting some significant lows. So right now we're looking at 4.349%. So this is the yield on the 10-year US bond. So way back here, you can see that I was thinking, is this a double bottom right here and here? No, it's not. And I put no when I saw this thing start to lag here and not to go back up to the standard deviation line. So here is a little bit of a top. Did it get to the standard deviation line? No. So it falls back down. Here we go again. It tried to come up a little bit. Is it getting to the standard deviation line? No. So it's falling back down again. Probably will touch the 2x band, the lower 2x band. Right here, it's floating around 4.272%. So conclusion is we're looking at the market kind of consolidated during the Thanksgiving short trading week. And I think the markets are going to go higher. Again, the catalyst for that, my only assumption, and it's an assumption, but I think it's a correct assumption, that the brokers, major brokers, need to make money. They lost money last year. They need to make money this year. Okay, Pepe, I'll turn it over to you.
Cool beans. Thanks, guys. That is it for this week. As a member of DeFi-Logic server, you can request chart reviews and discuss markets daily with other server members. And if you're interested in our trading view indicator strategies, you can test out the ETH, XRP, and Bitcoin strategy. The scalp strategy is now in beta testing. Moved from the 15-minute chart to the 5-minute chart, and it has roughly 3 times the amount of trade opportunities. Since September, it has a 92% success rate, so looking pretty good. We appreciate everybody that's joined us today, and we will see you next time. GN friends.
Join us next week in Discord for TA Tuesday at DeFiLogic.com.